Ian was taking some revenge on me for kicking a little too much ass last week. So
You know what? I know I have a problem with overzealous dungeon masters, but we'll save that topic for next month. We've gone live. Welcome to the discard pile. I'm your host, John Corbett. It is March something. It's belated St. Patrick's Day. Top of the morning to you. My first guest from the Great White North is Alan, the second worst thing to ever come out of Canada. Alan Gould. Welcome, Alan.
woohoo! Number 2.
Well, you know what the worst thing is, right?
Oh, what's his face? Celine Dion.
No, it's not Celine Dion. It's actually the band Rush. I hate the band Rush. I hate every song they've ever made. I hate how they sound. That's just my own bias. All right, our next guest, who decided to step in the steel cage tonight, our dear leader, Charlie Plaine. Welcome, Charlie.
Dear leader, huh? Really? Is that a fat joke? So.
No, actually, it wasn't. It was a dictator joke. But you have a better haircut than an actual dictator. So
that's true. And you can actually see me every now and then. So.
All right, now.
So Charlie, do you prefer dictator or Mad King? Because the option is out there.
Given the choice between Kim Jong-un and Joffrey, I choose not to choose. That's pretty awful. So.
Now, Charlie, I'm in an emotional distress right now, and I need you to help me. Earlier today, I was told the difference between the Dream Card boards and design is that everyone in design is your friend. Now, I was fired from design, so by my Vulcan logic, rest in peace, Leonard Nimoy, that means I'm not your friend, Charlie. Why don't you love me anymore?
I don't know that I've ever been your friend. So.
Wow. You thought are you reevaluating it, or were you playing me the whole time for like?
No, I'm kind of upset by that comment. I mean, that's
my comment.
No, not your comment. The comment on the boards that you're talking about. I ain't gonna name names, but
it was a real nasty comment. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, it was really nasty, and I don't think for a second that that's true. But
well, I was internet tough guy. I was an internet tough guy.
You can't prove that you really cannot prove that you're unbiased. You just have to be.
No, yeah, well, you can't say I'm. Well, you don't even say I'm not biased. You don't say I'm not something. You don't like I'm. Nixon, I'm not a crook.
I could justify.
I'm not a witch. Yeah, you can't.
If somebody asked me to, I could justify the reasons each person who's on the design team or has ever been on the design team is or was on the design team, and almost I can't think of any of them were because you're my friend. I don't add friends to the design team because I think that would be tragic because a lot of my friends would be really terrible designers.
And you've lost a lot of friends recently, but we'll get to internet trolls later in the show. I'm gonna go right into the politics. And before I get to my question, I want to throw this one to Alan. I made a mistake because I work overnights. I found the local Texas AM Rush Limbaugh station. So I've been listening to some right-wing radio, and the new thing now is that Obama doesn't love America. He just doesn't love it. You can tell he doesn't love America. Now, Alan, in Canadian politics, if there is such a thing, I don't know how you guys govern each other up there. Has any politician ever said about the other politician that they don't love Canada? It seems like such a childish, absurd thing to say. Does that ever happen? Does it get to that level in Canada?
No, not that bad. We're catching up, though.
We
look south and...
You got yourself a conservative prime minister, right? I mean, conservative Canadians like a liberal American, but don't you got yourself a guy on that side?
Yeah, we're conservative. We're Republican light, yeah.
Yeah, well, without the guns and the Jesus. You got Republicans.
Oh no, they have the guns and the Jesus. They're just...
Really? I thought guns weren't such a big thing up there. But
we don't have Second Amendment, so everybody wasn't in the habit of carrying guns to the supermarket. But
all right, so besides all the silly stuff, in real life, the United States Senate has in my opinion just lost their mind. They had. They invited the Speaker of the House, invited a foreign leader to come speak to a joint session. The Attorney General nominee has been in buffering for like 2 months, the longest wait in like 30 plus years. But the worst thing of all was a letter written by a senator who was elected about 2.5 weeks. He wrote up a letter. He got the other guys to sign it when they were trying to leave for the weekend, and he sent a letter to Iran about the nuclear talks or whatnot. Basically, it's unprecedented that the Senate would talk to a foreign leader, basically saying, "Don't listen to the president, and when he's gone, we're gonna nuke everything." My question is, and I'll ask Charlie first: what if the situation was reversed? What if it was a Republican president and a Democratic Congress? How would it play out?
I really try to stay out of politics because it's a losing discussion, but I cannot imagine this situation happening in the flip.
Well,
like, I cannot imagine.
Pretend that it happened, though. The question is, if it happened, what would the reaction be?
I would imagine the Republican president would be going after the Senate for violation of powers, like, because I'd have to read the Constitution and go through it all, but I don't. I'm pretty sure that inviting the foreign leader to speak is not illegal, but is douchey. But
yeah, that's just
a legislator sending a message to a foreign leader strikes me as wrong, and I could see a Republican president taking whatever angle he or she could take to get back at the legislative body, and particularly the legislator that did that. Again, I'm not quoting from an informed position here, but from what I remember from high school government, diplomacy is pretty much squarely in the executive branch, and you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, the president is in charge of foreign policy. I mean, the Senate approves treaties, but
right, but that's it. And they should not be writing letters to foreign heads of state, especially. And I didn't read the letter in detail, but take a fucking middle school English class for fuck's sake, or hire an intern to proofread your letter, because seriously, there was some problems.
And didn't I hear that one of the politicians involved is still, like, active National Guard? Like, there was actually a treason angle to this?
Well, no, he's a 37-year-old senator. He might. I think he's retired. He served. He served overseas. He served. He served in the war, and he got elected. He just went into office January. I don't know if he's still. I guess he could get called. He can get called back in, but I don't know about treason. This wasn't treason, but it was damn close. I think Sean Penn called it mutiny, and mutiny is a good word for it. But if it was flipped, there'd be.
Okay, that's Joni Ernst, right?
No. No. It was a guy, Tom Cotton. Joni Ernst is another new one.
Okay, because that's the one I'm thinking of. She signed it, and she's the junior senator from Iowa, but she is a lieutenant colonel in the Iowa National Guard. So she is active military, and basically part of the military service is thou shalt not talk shit about the commander.
Yeah, you can go to jail for adultery when you serve in the military. There's a lot of extra laws when you're when you're a service member. Now I'm not. I mean that's a little extreme to me. We're not calling. I don't think you should call for any kind of heads. But if it was flipped, yeah, a Republican president, there'd be McCarthy, communist Red Scare hearings, flushing out all the.
It would be I think the response would be much more aggressive to the challenge. I think Obama is handling it, very passive aggressively, which is kind of his MO. But I think if you flipped it and it was the Democratic minority that did this, the Democratic majority in the Senate did this with a Republican president, he would be chomping at the bit to be done with them. I think the ultimate hilarity of this is it's just, I don't know, it's sad. It's really a sad state of affairs in America that we as voters continue to allow this shit to happen, because it's not going to stop until we stop it. And it's these, rich white old men benefit from voter apathy, and until that stops, it's just going to keep happening, and the government is just going to be completely ineffective. I mean, not a effing thing is going to happen over the next 2 years. Not a fucking thing is going to get done, and it's sad.
For a guy who doesn't try to follow politics, you're kind of angry, Charlie. I see why you don't follow it.
I don't get into the Republican. I don't get into the Republican Democratic thing because it doesn't matter, and my political stance is complicated. I don't agree with one party on even a majority of any issue, but
it's probably not complicated. It's probably like most people. You're conservative about some things and you're liberal about other things. Like most people are.
But it's just like I'm frustrated that our government has for basically 4 years been deadlocked, and
it's not even deadlocked. I mean, the Republicans, like, you can go find stuff that's them saying, no, the game plan is until we control everything, nothing is going to happen. We are just going to sit here, put the brakes on, and go for coffee. Because if we let anything happen, they might think that the other party could get some credit for it.
Right, and they've been saying that since the midterms, the first Barack Obama term, so 2010.
Well,
and
the conspiracy theory is that when he was being inaugurated, all the Republicans met at some K Street bar or whatever it was, and they got together and was like, how do we, basically from the moment he's being sworn in, they were sabotaging, how are we going to muck up the works for while this guy's in office. And that's kind of
but the thing that frustrates me is, like, it's not that this is happening, it's that this is still happening, and that the American people haven't figured out that this isn't going to stop until we stop it. And my bigger problem, if you want to get me on a high horse rant, talk about the media, because the media is fucking
That's what this show's about. Sure, have you seen the show before? Actually, this show could have been called High Horse Rant. That was my second choice for the name. Now, last year when Ted Cruz was acting all silly when he first came into the Senate, he was acting goofy, and I made the joke, like, if he was a senator on Romulus, he would have a shuttle accident. Like, these senators that just show up and they start trying to do all this silly shit, trying to make, like, you gotta, like, I don't get why, one senator can do a lot of damage. That's just the nature of the office, which is, I mean, good and bad, but I don't know, man. I can just come in and start just shitting on everything, and yeah, especially a guy who is a military guy coming in and just, trying to circumvent the commander-in-chief's authority. It's just not cool.
Although, you know what bugs me more than the Republican side? Because at least you can sign off the Republican strategy as a strategy. I mean, it's a strategy that says, hey, I don't care about running the country, I care about winning, but whatever. It's when Obama won his second term, like, I think what frustrates me more than watching Republicans not do anything is Democrats not doing anything because they're just not willing to go to the mat on it. Like, there's no, like, where's the Democratic Rush Limbaugh that's just sitting there shouting from the parapets?
Oh, I don't. Whenever a liberal tries to try to do right-wing radio, it's a goddamn mess. Just because that's just I listen
because they tap into the real left. When the left wingers get on the radio, it devolves into Art Bell and the fucking crazy 3 a.m. alien shit way too quickly. It's like the crazy far rights make more sense than the crazy far lefts, which is it's sad, but that's really the way it comes off when you listen.
Because right-wing radio, and I figured it out recently. It just exists to keep a small segment of the population angry, all day, every day, just keeping them angry because that's how they're going to keep their vote. You can't. Yeah. People who are liberal, they don't vote because of anger. That's not going to be a motivation that gets them to vote. So you don't need anything to keep churning them up all the time.
Yeah, I mean, going to what Alan was saying, it's like the Democratic strategy is wait for the Republicans to hang themselves. Well, guess what? That's not happening. Like the Republicans are hanging themselves, but nobody's calling them on it. Like, again, when the voting is like less than 25%, and it's just insane.
The Israeli election just happened, and their voter turnout was 71% and change. That was the one good thing I took from that election, that 71%. And if we're going to get on the high horse, I don't understand the infatuation. I don't know words today. The infatuation that the Republicans have for Netanyahu. like they love that. Oh, look at that guy. That guy really loves his country. You can tell he loves his country. Unlike Obama, and it's like he's just a I just don't get the infatuation with him.
He's not afraid to use his military.
Oh yeah, it's just big dick foreign policy stuff like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, let's get off the politics. Let's get something a little more laid back. Apple released their watch. The Apple Watch starts at $350. $350. Has Apple finally gone too far? I mean, like, are people going to buy this? Like, are watches still? I don't get it. Is this finally going to be the end of Apple's empire? Not the empire, but they've been throwing bullseyes for 15 years. I think, are they finally going to miss?
Okay, so I haven't seen the specs on this, but basically, okay, does this watch function as the equivalent of either the Dick Tracy watch or the Inspector Gadget watch?
Dick Tracy.
I mean, if you can make video calls on a wrist thing, you will sell these things.
No, I don't think there's video calls, just phone calls.
Yeah. Anything short of that, the argument I've heard was why would go
focus groups. I know. I'm just gonna make a quick focus groups. They knew that most people don't even like talking on the phone. That option isn't even what they really want it for. So it's not even the phone that's really selling.
I can't tell you the last time. I mean, I think I called my mom this weekend. I mean, I might make one phone call a week on my phone, but the thing's in my hand all the time. Like, there is a market, and I have a friend who has a smartwatch. He paid $70 for it. It's an Android smartwatch. There's a market for that, and I can see some legitimate uses for it. If you don't want to, if you're driving and you can't have your phone out all the time, when you get a text message, it'll flash up, here's your text from whomever, or if there's a phone call, it flashes up the caller ID and stuff on your phone. I can kind of understand that, and like my friend, he can control his music from the watch. There's a slight market for that, but like fucking $350, that's just paying for the Apple name. He bought his for $70, and it's Bluetooth and syncs with his phone, works with any phone. These Apple Watches are only going to work with the iPhones. It's just it seems excessive to me. But I mean, Apple prints money, and they have a lot of brand loyalty, so I'm sure the pre-orders are crazy. It's the $10,000 model that drives me crazy. Like, are they going to sell any of those?
Oh, they'll sell at least one.
Yeah,
I can't.
There's Russian billionaires who will buy it.
I can't see Steve Jobs letting that happen. Like, Steve Jobs would have made the iWatch, and there'd be one watch, and everybody gets the same watch. That was his MO. He was very much like, this is our product. It's the best one that we could make. And I guess the watches are all the same tech.
Yeah, they're all the same. They're just gold.
Different gold. So maybe it's not the same thing, but I don't know. It just seems like while I do legitimately believe there is a market and use for a smartwatch, this seems crazy excessive to me.
Yeah. People didn't even like using it for the phone, and the other thing was like the exercise stuff. But we're all fat Americans. We don't want to exercise, so they even had to say, like, aren't you tired of reaching into your pocket to grab that phone? You don't have to do that anymore. You can just turn your wrist. Like, that's what you're selling. The effort it takes to reach in my pocket and pull out the phone, and you're worried about
You're
saving the 5 inches between your wrist and where the phone is in your hand.
Yeah, that's $350. I don't know. But here's why it won't work. It's just why the Segway failed, because it looks dorky. You ever see somebody on a Segway? Segways are amazing. We should have a whole society of streets and no cars and everyone on a Segway, but you look like a doofus riding one. That's why they don't work. And the Apple Watch is the same way. Someone talking into your watch, it looks dumb, and people don't. That's why it's going to fail. All right, let me switch off to our next topic. There's a thing in America now, I found out, that it's called the sleep industrial complex. Basically, sleep in America is a $39 billion a year industry. I'm talking all the stuff that people need to sleep, everything. 39 million people in America are on Ambien. So my question is, I gotta let Charlie go first. What the fuck is wrong with Americans? Why can't we sleep? What's wrong with sleeping? We've been doing it for fucking millions of years.
Because we drink fucking Diet Pepsi at 9 o'clock at night.
Yes, yeah.
No, I mean,
put it down. Put it down.
In general, American culture is go 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 go, and we don't properly. It's a complicated factor because sleep is supposed to. There is a healthy way to sleep, and there are healthy habits uh, that go into sleep. But when we have a tablet, like when we lay in bed and watch Netflix on our iPad, and or read Tumblr on our phone, and we stay up way too late because we're doing 80 million activities,
in a podcast.
In a podcast, and we get up early and we go 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 go, and we don't take naps and we run all day, and then because we're tired we drink and monsters and energy drinks and 10 5-hour energies for 50 continuous hours of energy. It's just we're so unhealthy in general and so obsessed with go 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 go, do as much as you can. It's obvious we don't sleep, why we don't sleep, because we don't allow ourselves to sleep correctly. We don't allow ourselves to have a quiet place where you rest. Are
we really doing, like, I know we do have a psychologically it's go 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 go, but we have more downtime than ever. Like the guy in the 1800s was doing way more shit than you and I were doing. I mean, he was like, from going out and getting the fish, getting the thing, and the women today think they're all stressed out, they're all busy. Well, try walking 2 miles to the well, bringing the water back on your head, cook 6 hours to prepare your meals. So, I mean, I think it's Americans have been sold that you're stressed out, you're too busy, and while they're really just reading shit on their phone, staring at a screen,
I think
it's mess with your eyes.
I think it's less, like clearly the farmer in the 1800s worked from dusk till dawn, but it was like he was plowing, and then he was seeding, and then he was watering, and then the fisherman was fishing, and then he was carrying the fish, and then he was cleaning the fish. Now it's like, now I'm eating breakfast, reading the paper, listening to the news on television, trying to get my kids. We've stopped. I don't know that we work less hard. I think because we try to do 5 things at the same time. We're trying constantly to be stimulated and productive and multitask, and it's like all of that weird. I mean, doing 2 things at once takes more brain power than doing 1 thing. It's just a fact. It takes, you have to have brain space for both, and then brain space to manage it. If you're plowing the field, you're focusing on plowing the field, and it's physical work, but it's not necessarily mentally taxing. And then you're tired, and you go home and you go to bed. That
guy had a family. That guy had a family and a nagging wife and other shit on his mind. Just because he didn't know about shit on the other side of the world. I mean, aren't we? I know we're doing it to ourselves, and we don't. But I bet you that guy who was plowing the field all day, he probably took about 20 minutes, like in the middle of the day, sat down, cracked open a jug or something, sat down for 20 minutes, just settled down, and then he went back to work. I mean, no one ever takes a time out. Tommy takes a time out during the day, 15, 20 minutes. Let me get Alan in on this. Alan, what's wrong with us in this country? Are people in Canada? Is everyone doped up on Ambien? And Ambien fucks you up. It's a crazy drug. Like, you do shit that you didn't even know. One dude I read about, he made a turkey. He woke up in the middle of the night, put a turkey, stuffed the turkey, put it in the oven, and went back to bed. Like, that's fucking crazy. Is everyone doped up there too?
Lesser extent, but I think the problem is we let drug companies advertise to people. So, I mean, is it that suddenly everybody is having sleep disorders and we all need to be prescribed on Ambien? Or is it because 39 million Americans were watching TV and heard, are you having problems sleeping? Are you not as happy as you could be? We could help. Talk to your doctor about. I mean, God, look at Viagra commercials. They don't even pretend this shit is for erectile dysfunction anymore.
Alan, I think you missed your call.
It's just literally 2 guys. Yeah. I mean,
would listen.
Have you seen Viagra eggs these days?
Yeah.
They're not even pretending it's a medical problem. It's the, hey, do you and the wife need to go get it on for a bit? Talk to your doctor about Viagra.
Alan, you're doing my next discard pile commercial. I have last year's commercial. I'm not joking about that. You're going to have to do a 30-second commercial for me.
I would pay just to listen to Alan read things like in that voice.
Do Do you like fat nerds yelling at you? Tune into the Discord pile Thursdays.
Like, honestly, John, I think that the main component of this sleep industrial complex is something called sleep hygiene. And this is something I learned a long time ago. But basically, your bed should be for sleeping and having sex. Your bed should not be for laying and watching TV. You should never be watching TV in bed. You shouldn't be reading in bed. You shouldn't be fucking around with Tumblr on your phone in bed, because your brain, there is supposed to be an association in your brain between this place and sleeping.
Yeah.
And we break that when we use that place for all this other stuff. So, like, you should watch TV downstairs in the living room, or have a separate chair that you sit in and watch TV in, and when you're ready to go to bed, you turn it off and you get into bed. And then that preserves the idea of, okay, this is a good sleep hygiene, this is a good sleep habit. And we just don't have that because we're so connected and plugged in. Like, there's going to be days when you're stressed out about the presentation with Johnson tomorrow, or fuck, my kid is a fuck up, and you just don't sleep.
I hate Johnson. I hate that fucking guy. That guy's a dick.
I just think that our culture is so, you know, we don't sleep well as a society because we don't make it a priority. We just think we're going to fall asleep and we'll be okay, and we'll just drink an energy drink and have a double grande frappuccino extra shot tomorrow, and okay.
I'm gonna solve my statistic with another statistic, and the other statistic is that 75% of Americans have too much shit in their garage that they can't even park their car in it. So not only are we popping pills and can't get to sleep, we're putting shit in our house. So everyone needs to take 10 minutes, stare at your garage, close your eyes, take 10 minutes, zone out, then spend a couple hours cleaning out your fucking garage. You'll be tired. You go right to bed. Problem solved.
So the funny anecdote. I grew up in Ohio, where the weather in the winter is fairly awful, and there's lots of snow and ice. And the garage is where you put your car, because then you don't have to scrape it off anymore. Like, some of the worst things ever is like having to wake up and go scrape shit off your car. I moved out to California, and nobody parks in their garage. The garage is a storage room. Garage is a workshop, because you just fucking never snows here. You never actually have to worry about that.
Every California business started in a garage. That's what they're all, Hewlett Packard, everything.
Garages are not places for cars, and that every time a couple of my friends have bought houses lately, and they're like, yeah, it's got a garage. I'm like, oh, cool, you got a place to put your cars. Like, no, we got 2 parking spaces on this outside. Garage is a workshop. I'm like, fuck, it's culture shock, man. It's crazy.
There's a lot of things I'm assuming in California. Oh, by the way, speaking of California, Charlie, in 1 year you'll have no water. You know you're going to die there, right? You have to leave, right? Like soon. You know that, right?
Yeah, we're plenty fucked. So.
Yeah, you know, it's water's gone. Time. I don't understand why people still live there. I don't know. All right, let's get
water. You're next to the bloody ocean.
Alan, you can't drink salt. Alan, do they have schools in Canada? Well, I thought you were a smart dude, man. You have a great voice.
They make machines that do this.
Well, yeah, but they're just this new technology. It takes giant machines to turn.
No, there was some proposal, I guess, 5-10 years ago, to build these huge desalination plants in San Diego that, had they done it, would have extended our water supply by like 10 years. But there was political bullshit. And again, I may not be 100% accurate on this, but as I understand it, there was political bullshit and they didn't do it, and so now we're fucked. And they're trying to build something, but it's going to be ready way too late. So yeah, we have a year's worth of water left.
So I saw a little while ago, Bill Gates had that giant machine that turned poop into a little bit of water. Are you prepared to drink poop water? You're going to have to do that. Are you ready?
Yeah, well, we'll see. My folks still live in Ohio, so if it comes down to poop water, moving home, when it
comes to poop water or no water, you drink the fucking poop water.
That's very true.
It's not a choice at that point. All right, I'm gonna get to internet trolls now, and I'm not talking about Trek yet. I'm talking about Kurt Schilling, the former Phillies pitcher. He posted a picture on Instagram, something, I don't know, I don't do Instagram, of his daughter. She got into a college and she's pitching softball, and it said, just congratulations to my daughter, whatever her name is. And then the trolls came out, and and the worst part was their Sid was not being funny. It was just like dumb, like meathead stuff, like, oh, she's hot, I'm gonna rape her. Well, Kurt got on his high horse and found out who they were in real life, and went to the schools or the jobs that they work at, and then some of these people lost their jobs. So, Alan, is this too much? Is this vigilante justice? Is this out of bounds, or is he good to go?
No, because there's two parts that get me on this. One is, I mean, you look through those and I don't even want to repeat these, but it was like there's the, oh hey, your daughter's so hot, which really, who is dumb enough to say this in front of the girl's like dad? Like, this is, what are you guys thinking? I mean, and they were like, there was ones about, hey, I'm going to take this baseball bat and yada yada. Yeah. And then you go, there's three people I heard that got fired. It's a guy who works at a baseball stadium.
Yeah, Yankees, yeah.
Yeah, so, go figure. A guy who's a VP for the fraternity, and a guy who works at a radio station. So, I mean, the baseball guy is the, you know what, he's in baseball, he's going to call us, like, no, but they're going to just can the guy, because why? The other two, they're working in public relations. You get fired for doing dumb shit when you're in public relations. So I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for them.
I can't believe someone who worked for a fraternity is a bad guy all of a sudden. I can't believe, besides all the racism and rape, sexual assaults that are going on right now.
Look, I mean, when did it become okay to, like, setting aside what they said, which is an entirely separate issue, when did we stop being accountable for what we fucking did? Like, it doesn't matter if it's online or offline. If you do something fucking stupid and you get caught, you deserve to get fired. Like, as we get more and more connected, there is no, like, personal life and professional life anymore. If I'm on Twitter and I do something fucking dumb and my boss finds out about it, he has every right to fire me. Especially, as Alan said, if I work in any sort of position where my image is important. If I'm
if you're in a position to damage the reputation of the company.
But, like, it's like these people are shocked that I threatened to rape this guy's daughter and I got fired. Well, then don't fucking threaten to rape her. You don't have to say that. That's not a goddamn compliment. If you say, oh, she's beautiful, and Kurt Schilling flips the fuck out, that's probably an overreaction on it. First of all, if you're Kurt Schilling and you post a picture of your daughter, that's stupid, because the internet is going to be assholes about it. Yeah. Second of all, if it's oh, she's really pretty, and he flips out about that, that's him being unreasonable. But if it's like, I'm going to rape your daughter and shove a baseball bat up in various places, and he gets pissed and finds out who you are, and you tells your boss, you deserve that. You 100% deserve that. You're a fucking asshole. Own up to it. Like, I'm just sad that accountability is left.
So you're both okay with him, like, just making phone calls, finding out who it is.
Well, okay, because the version I read said basically they have all these tweets. He found out through however he found out who they were, and basically he posted up on his blog or whatever, here's the tweet and here is the guy. Like, this, this thing of, hey, can you show me your knuckleball so I can yada yada, and then said, yep, and this is so and so in this place, and basically just put names to tweets. And then, I mean, it goes viral, and the sense I'm getting from it is that the various companies went and said, like, this university catches wind of it and then punts these guys out. I mean, it is. They said it. They said it, and then they tried to delete it and hide and like, oh, I'm so sorry. And it's like, no, you're sorry you got caught, jackass.
Yeah, welcome to the internet.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, it's not that hard to find out who somebody is. Everybody's got their Twitter and their Facebook and their Instagram all linked. I mean, you can find out somebody's real name and where they work in about 5 minutes with Google, unless they're very careful with how they've set up everything. And most people aren't.
Won't this thing eventually take care of itself when people realize, oh shit, like, I'm not behind it. I'm not anonymous anymore. So, like, do we need? I mean, I don't know. I'm actually neutral on Kurt Schilling doing this. I mean, it's his choice. He's certainly allowed to do it. But I mean, I don't know if we want this going on in the future. Hopefully, won't this take care of itself when people realize, the trolls realize that everything's connected, and we will be accountable?
You would think, but it doesn't seem to stop. I mean,
well. And it'll get fixed when it's people like, oh, you said this thing, and then now, no, we know who you are, now you have to own saying this, and then your boss calls and says, yeah, I kind of don't want you on my radio station now that you're the baseball bat guy, like, piss off, right? If these guys were like warehouse workers or truckers or something, they probably still have their jobs because they're not the faces of their company, right?
At the end of the day, these are guys who the fuck follows a retired pitcher on Instagram. Well, I'm a Phillies fan. I love Kurt Schilling, but I'm not going to follow him on the Facebook. I don't.
There was a comic, I want to say 10 years ago, maybe not even, that was like, I think it was Penny Arcade, where they said anonymity plus something was a fuckwad. Yeah, so it's like if you're anonymous and you are strongly opinionated, you're an asshole on the internet. The problem is, 10 years ago, you could be largely anonymous on the internet. Now, you really can't. I mean, it's of our own making, but like, you have to work pretty hard to have a private Twitter profile, a private Facebook profile, a private all of these things. I mean, most people can find you, and even there's a lot of people, even if you are private, can get into your shit if they want to. So you just have to. I mean, it's all about accountability, and people. I hope that. Again, this is another issue that I can get on a high horse about, but like, we need to start teaching in middle school, like, internet etiquette, and this needs to be taught to kids. Like, if you say something dumb on the internet, it's there forever, and you will always deal with that.
Etiquette and stuff like that matters. Manners have to be taught by parents.
Yeah. And you know what? If we can go back to like the 80s, like when I got on the internet to like mid 90s, that was just at the tail end, like when suddenly it was going commercial. And before that day, because I had internet friends that were from the older days, it used to be like when you got an email account, my first email account was Gould.Allen at, like, you didn't get a choice in that. Your name, like, you didn't have aliases. You were you. And then you didn't have these problems because you had to, if you said it, you had to own it, because you couldn't just go get another free email account because there was no such thing. And probably your account was from your business or your university, so you're stuck with it. And then we went through this stretch of everybody could say whatever they want. So I'm just happy if we go back to the old days where if you say it, you got to own it.
So everyone's name's got to be smacked on their handle or their email address, or beneath it in some way is very visible.
Or something reputation, right? Like, it's something on the you just can't be anonymous, pop up, say a bunch of shit and disappear. Like, it's you have to live with it, and you have to sit there and say, yeah, I said that, and, well, that was dumb. Like, because I think it would boil down to, none of these guys would go up to these people in person. Like, if you went into your boss or somebody said, oh yeah, my daughter's playing basketball, nobody would go up to Kurt Schilling and say any of those things there. You wouldn't go up to the guy and say, oh, your daughter's playing that? Great, I should stop by there and, give her a good boning. They should be lucky they just lost their jobs. This used to be shotgun offenses.
I love it when you talk dirty. Nothing better than a Canadian talking dirty. Well, the internet's it's still the Wild West when it comes to, stuff like that. The question at the end of the day is who's the best sheriff for the internet? Is it the individual like Kurt Schilling? Is it the company that owns the website? Is it Silicon Valley? Should it be like Google and the internet providers, or should it be the law? Should it be police? We got to figure out who's the best person to be the sheriff. On that note, we know who the sheriff is now in the continuing committee message boards. It's the company that, wherever we have.
You've been working all week on that, haven't you? You've practiced that.
That was a hell of a segue, man.
Well, I did the Kurt Schilling one last. Hey, I'm running on 2 hours sleep. Okay, I had to go to mechanic. I got the baseball bat where it shouldn't be. So hey, what are you gonna do? You gotta do a segue. So all right, Charlie, it's time to step up to the plate. So let's get right to the end of it. We're not gonna go through this. When it's all said and done, basically we have 5 or 6 new moderators, and so instead of coming out with the zero tolerance, hellfire and brimstone, couldn't we have put out an article saying, let's get some new moderators, and then once we got those moderators, just said, hey, they're going to be strict now, so button up and don't cry when you get in trouble.
Well, to be honest, that was the plan.
What the fuck happened to the plan?
back in November, we put up the whole. We're looking for people to be on this review panel that are going to help figure out what the new code of conduct is, because nobody in the continuing committee, myself included, felt that we should draft it because we would be accused of bias and oppressing criticism, which I want to maintain, and I've said from day one, is not the point. The point is not you can't talk bad about CC. It's never been the point. So we got an independent group of people from the community. We had an Australian, we had a European, we had a couple Americans, a couple different regions, and we said, you guys figure out what the code of conduct should be. And they started talking, and they were like, well, it should be this, and it should be that. And at some point, the idea came up of, well, let's do a questionnaire, and let's try and reach the people that used to be on the forums but left, because that's the people that we needed to talk to. So they put that questionnaire together, and it went out in an email blast, and people answered it, and then a lot of their assumptions that they had been making were proven to be incorrect, and some were proven to be correct. And so they were drafting this code of conduct, and they were getting close to finishing it, and then fucking drama. And I don't even remember what started, but it was like people were. I was getting PM after PM. I wasn't even home. It was like PM after PM. I'm like, I'm quitting the game. This guy's an asshole. This guy said this. This guy said this.
This is when it was announced?
This is when the zero tolerance policy went into place.
Okay.
It had to have, I guess it was the Chicago Masters situation. And it was like I had a dozen or more PMs saying something needs to happen, or everybody I know is walking away. And I was literally looking at, maybe it was empty threats, but it was we were weeks away from having a finished code of conduct ready and doing things the soft launch way, which is what you suggested. And I was literally looking at watching the community fall apart. And that was... let me finish my story, and then you can ask me the questions. The problem is, this wasn't the first time in 5 years I had made a post saying, all of this personal bullshit has to stop. And I knew that if I made another post saying all of this shit has to stop without any sort of real intention to back that up, nobody would listen. And justifiably, because again, we'd announced similar policy changes in the past, only for them to be utterly unenforced. So the solution was, and this was entirely on me, this wasn't like a voted decision, it was, we're going to go to martial law. Essentially, and this is you're gonna
you Jarish Indioed.
I basically did. It wasn't out of, and this is what a lot of people don't understand. This was not done to silence people. This was not done because I wanted that sort of authority or power. I hated it. I hated every second of it, and every ban I made took something out of me. But the only way to make it clear that this was not another repeat of the same bullshit was to take action. But fortunately, we were close enough to done with the code of conduct and the forum review that we were able to very shortly thereafter get it adopted. And I know some people criticize the speed with which it happened, which I can sort of understand that criticism, but I find it ironic because most of the time we're criticized for being too slow. But, you know, all said and done, that the martial law, the Jarish lasted 2 weeks.
No, I have no problem with the time limit. And now you think I'm about to yell at you, but I'm actually going to yell at Alan, because after the martial law, while we were on lockdown, with the Starfleet headquarters was on lockdown, all the hardliners came out like, yeah, go get them. And Alan was the dictator. He was all dear leadered up. Alan, he was like, hey, Charlie's he's a benevolent dictator. Everything's good. So
well, hang on.
Would you be happy if we were still in martial law, if we were still in troll lockdown? You would be okay in this Orwellian world where there's no freedom?
Well, really, the difference is, okay, who's the, like you said, who's the sheriff in town? And my take is, the problem wasn't that people didn't know the rules. Everybody knew the rules. Everybody knew what you were supposed to say and what you weren't supposed to say, and everybody was pushing it because they knew nobody was...
Alan, hold on a second. I don't know what to say and what not to say. I say that... let me, for a second. Now, Charlie... For 15 years, have I been the same level of consistency with my bullshit on the internet? Pretty much, right? Of just
Give or
saying, saying inflammatory things, right? It's been, because Killer Bee's been pretty much consistent, right?
Sure.
But then there's times when I say stuff and nobody listens, which is fine because I'm probably saying something stupid. And other times I say things that I don't think are too bad, and then people like lose their minds, and then I get in trouble. So the rule was always, up to this point, the rule is, it doesn't matter what you say. The rule is don't offend anybody. God forbid you offend everybody. So then we don't know, Alan, what to say and what not to say. It's what's the other guy feeling? Is the other guy emotionally stable that can handle my joke about Chicago deep dish pizza? So the rules weren't completely set in stone ahead of time.
Well, and my argument was having written rules just means people, and like me, because I mean I used to be I still be a shithead, is if you say, well, you can't say shit. Well, okay, I'll say fuck. Oh, you can't say shit. And I mean, and then you're in George Carlin's 7 words you can't play on television, and you're just going through. So the simpler one is, we were giving out, like, Charlie's been warning people for years, we just never pulled the trigger. And my argument was, just, like, give the damn sheriff a gun and let him, like a 7-day ban is nothing.
He lit up a couple guys. I was one of them. Did that work? It didn't work. Some people did get turned off. By going into lockdown, you had the Admiral Laytons, you and people who worry about their children going on. Oh, my children! I let my children play trick, but I don't know about these boards. Anytime people start bringing children into the argument, I dismiss them right away. That's horseshit. That's what people accuse about when two boys kiss on TV. What am I going to tell my children? So I don't care about those kind of arguments. You turned off. You made some people happy. You got rid of some people, and you turned some people off. So the martial law thing, it just doesn't work.
Well, I think for me it boils down to, we can have a whole bunch of rules and regulations and moderators and appeals processes, and I figure like in a year we're gonna have Google Hangouts with people with like the coats, and the Law and Order theme will play at the beginning of it.
No, the Q court. You gotta have the Q court.
Yeah, like
I don't want to see sites.
In the Trek justice system, there are
I really hope that doesn't happen. I mean, yes, here.
It won't happen.
I should just shut up.
So what it boiled down to was, you could do all of this, or we can give Charlie the gun and say, yes, if it gets too bad, kick it. Like, it's a house. If you're in the house and it's, some days you put up with it, and some days you say, no, that's enough. And when they keep going, you say, no, get the hell out of my house. I'll see you in a week.
I'm okay with the sheriff shoots off the gun. He shoots it in the air. Charlie came in and shot two dudes like straight out of Appaloosa with a guy. Ed Harris rolls in and shoots the two guys. Like, yeah, I'm the sheriff now. Okay. That's how he handled it. Instead of shooting the shotgun in the air and telling everybody, all right, we're going to hire some new moderators. Well, it's in effect. There's two ways you can handle it.
But you can't sit here with a straight face and tell me that Charlie has not given you a warning and a warning and a warning.
No, not Charlie, but other moderators. Yeah, I've had my dust ups.
Yeah.
But for the shit that went down, I got banned when Charlie came in with the shotgun. I got banned for laughing at the shotgun. Charlie came in the room like, look at that shotgun's not going to do nothing. And then I got, oh yeah, it's a real shotgun. I didn't do anything. I didn't talk to anybody else. I didn't get banned for anything, the new rules that were in effect. But I know it was the example. Sometimes you gotta set an example. Someone's got to be it. But everything's calmed down now. There's not going to be any. There's going to be no tribunal sentencing. I would hope. I don't think we're going to go down that road. It was just the fact that maybe did we overreact to the Chicago thing, Charlie? Maybe that was a little overreaction. You were really getting, before you announced the martial law. Was there really a behind? I didn't think it was that big of a deal.
It was a pretty big blow up. Like, I don't remember where I was, but I came back to 15, 20 private messages and threads and
what caused that? Charlie, at the end of the day, what caused that dust up? What caused it? Come on, let's be honest.
What caused that dust up was the continuing committee made a mistake. The continuing committee didn't do its due diligence in scheduling all of our events, and we made a lot of mistakes over the past couple of months.
What was Chicago? What was the schedule problem? What was it?
It got double
booked with another event close enough to cannibalize each other. Like, the two events would have split the players.
So it's a logistic problem. It's not, and it's a logistic problem months down the road. So isn't the problem people, and by people I mean an individual. Wasn't the problem people overreacting? Like usually what happens in this community.
Well, here's what happened.
I know you're taking credit for you're taking the blame, but it's really not. This one's not. That Chicago thing wasn't really you guys. Yeah. So what? Oh shit. Oh. Okay. They're close by. They're the same weekend. All right. We'll move one, and then problem solved. It was the other people. Like, just say people overreacted, and they need to fucking settle the fuck down.
There was an element of that, but it's all to look.
There's an element of that.
Look. John, you want me to throw somebody?
You're like the murder guy. What was his name? The rich guy who just got caught. I never knowingly lied. I never about killing 3 people.
Look,
I never.
You want me to throw somebody under the bus, and I'm not
No,
going to do it.
I don't want a name.
Oh.
I just want you to go. People overreacted, and it caused this, and it caused worse things.
But this is the culmination in years of allowing the same behavior to happen unchecked. You know, it doesn't matter that this time it was over something that probably could have been avoided and didn't need to blow up. How many times, you've said this more than anything to me, is that we have to be recruiting. If we do nothing, if we simply maintain the status quo, we're losing. We're gonna die. It's inevitable.
I don't hold the new player. I don't have recruiting as a new players. You gotta.
But I mean, we need. No.
I kind of made this point to someone on the message boards when they go, "Oh, eventually no one's going to show up anyway." I said, "Yeah, in a way that's true. We're all going to die, but let's not smoke cigarettes and eat cheeseburgers and hurry up the process. Yeah, right. We're all getting older, and you're not going to recruit new players to an old game. Besides the people that we're reproducing ourselves, that the ones we're making.
Ultimately, John, we had data. Confirmed the data that the forum environment, and it wasn't super bad. I've been on forums that are a lot worse.
Thank you. That's all I want people to say. That's actually the perfect thing I wanted to hear. That it's not people. When you did the martial law, it was, oh well, thank God it's been lawless around here. And like I said, people post pictures of their babies. This isn't Kurt Schilling. No one posts a picture of a baby and go, oh, that baby's ugly. Like there's nothing like that. There's no like straight up trolling. It's guys who hate each other doing little nitpick trolling, and then one guy, when there's a scheduling conflict, loses his mind. But there's not this base.
But I would disagree that there's been no trolling. There has been trolling.
No, there's trolling, but not like I said. There's no like basic.
But just because that there are places that are worse doesn't mean that this is okay. That something didn't need to change.
And I would point out that I would expect, like, the reason when something blows up and there was a bunch of them in a row. Chicago was just one, where it was something happened, and then they come in, and instead of like, oh, hey, I'm double booked, or a PM or something, the environment was there that, well, I can show up and I can just start swearing a blue streak, and because nobody thought, like, what was going to come out of it. Oh no, Charlie might tell me to stop, and if I don't stop, Charlie might tell me to stop again. Oh dear, right? I think we're going to see a decrease because we've proved, like, Charlie's pulled out the shotgun. Charlie has shown that the shotgun is loaded, and now the next time, if you want to go sit there, it's not a, hey, let's kick Charlie around the block so that I can feel better and look self-important. And gee, why aren't we listening to him?
No, he's not big digging it. I'm getting some heat. I'm getting some heat in the chat room on my shotgun analogy. But I know Charlie has shot the gun, not a shotgun, but he shot the pistol in the air before. Like, hey, everybody, settle down. It's getting kind of silly in here, which happens sometimes with nerds and people get all excited. And even now, I'm okay with eventually I'm okay with the mod squad. I'm okay with this code of conduct that specifically lays out some more things. I'm saying I'm okay with to the place we got to. I'm not okay with how we got there. And now that so Charlie Jarish entered it. It got hectic for a while, and hopefully, we avoid the show trials later on.
If it makes you feel better, John, I wish that it had gone down differently. I honestly wish that the timing had worked out. I wish that the blow-ups hadn't been as bad as they were, so that we could have rolled this out naturally. This is the thing that some of the people who are very vehemently against this maybe haven't connected on the timeline. This code of conduct, this change has been in the works since November. Like, I don't have the exact date. I could go dig it up, but we put up a call for people to join the community, the review panel, 5-6 months ago. So this has been ongoing this entire time. It wasn't like I came in and said, this is martial law, we're going to whip together a code of conduct and recruit some people and put it into place, which would be really damn impressive. This was an inevitability. This change was happening. I wish that it had happened organically. Do I ultimately, while I am willing to apologize for actions taken during the Gerashinio period, I am not going to apologize for implementing that, because I ultimately and 100% believe this change needed to happen to get the community to survive. And the imposition of martial law temporarily allowed this change to happen. And I know that you were banned, John, and I have apologized to you for that.
Don't worry about it. I'm not giving a shit about that. Like the card says, we're gonna beat this metaphor into the ground in that episode. Your fear will destroy you. And I have a new rule now in Trek. I don't make any continuing committee decisions until 2 weeks have passed. Like, people get all, we know some people get worked up a little too much. So and everything always, after 2 weeks, anything in a continuing committee, you're like, what the fuck was I mad about? It's like when you get home from work. You ever get home from work and you're all pissed off, like some guy or your boss, and then like an hour and a half later, you're like, what was I even pissed off about? You don't know. So from now on, I hope other people in the committee, let's from now, no big decisions until 2 weeks after something, to the point where you first thought of something.
But just to go back to, because martial law isn't even the right term, because really, what's the old system? Like, final arbiter of the world is Charlie, because it's Charlie's house. We just play. And to go back to the whole thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But here, and this is where it comes to, and here's my happy thought. We all know there are forums that are way worse than us, and there are old Trek forums that shall go unnamed that had some fun moderation. And at the end of the day, I would rather personally have Charlie holding the shotgun, because I know Charlie doesn't want to fire it. So when he does, it's been coming. It's like, I trust that Charlie only shoots the people who really needed it. And that's not saying anything bad about future, like the moderators, because who knows? But it's one of those, okay, we have a guy in charge. I like this guy. Yeah, like
we all know you love Mad King Charlie. You come out and said it.
Well, if I can be selfish for a moment, I'm really glad the moderation team is up and running, because to carry the analogy, I didn't want to carry the shotgun. I don't want to shoot anybody. I don't want the responsibility.
You're not a sheriff personality. Like I said, it comes down to who wants to be. The best sheriff would be the individual monitoring themselves. Everybody going, all right, what's too far? And then, you basically turned it up. You were the police for a little while. We don't want that either, because when the police, you don't want that kind of authority. And so now we got a couple of deputy sheriffs, and hopefully everything will, eventually who's going to control, bad behavior. And
individuals can't do ultimately, if you think about it, I would argue 99% of the people and 99% of the topics are entirely unaffected by this new code of conduct. It's only in that small sliver of a dozen or so people that like to needle and poke at each other, and a couple topics that we should stay off of that are going to risk problem. And hopefully, once people rack up a warning or so, they realize this is, not going to happen.
Yeah, people get frustrated and they don't give themselves enough cool down period, and they say things.
Well, and human beings hate change. They hate it as a society. And going from essentially zero moderation to any moderation is a drastic change. And I understand why people are concerned and why there are people that don't like it. I understand that, and I take all of those criticisms to heart, and I hope the moderation team will take the criticisms to heart. But this change is happening. It has happened. It's not going away. We need to make peace with it. And if somebody can't make peace with it, I'm sorry, but this is not getting rid of it.
Like I said, that wasn't the problem. Like I said, we got to the point where we're okay now. But let's when the angry mob starts carrying the torches, you got to sometimes you go too far in the other way. All right, let's end on a. You have it, Alan?
Well, I was just gonna say, because the switch hit, then you had that, like, and I think we're just at the tail end of it. You have that witch hunt of the, well, hey, he got banned. Like, how come, why did, well, he did that too, and everybody's pointing
Yeah,
fingers.
that's
And
why you don't want to go into straight. You went from zero. You went from complete freedom to lockdown, and that's just going to be just chaos for a little while. That's why you got.
It was three. It was three guys, and I think the part of it was it's three.
Okay.
I only heard three, but and then it's like, okay, well, that, and then everybody hit that. Well, what about everybody else? And then nothing happened, which I think sent the right message of, no, like, okay, we reserve the right to do this. We're not planning on we have a shotgun. We don't have, I don't know, a machine gun. You Americans fill in the blank. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the big guns. All right, Orlando Masters is coming up. Hell, by the time I do the next show, I got a whole run going. Like 4 weekends in a row. Orlando, the league event, Orlando, Seattle, and then back to the Texas Regional. So I got a lot of nerd weekend. I got to take some vacation to get the hell out of here for a while after this long and cold winter here in Texas. Alan, Orlando Masters, who and what is going to win?
Oh, hell if I know.
Well, you gotta come on, man. You gotta have predictions on this show. I want names and decks. Let's go. Give it to me.
Oh, jeez. I don't even know what the format is for Orlando.
The format is second edition. I don't want one of you predictions. I don't know. My brain don't. Or give me a one.
Dude, I don't play 2E, man. I don't know.
Oh, really?
It's gonna be a deck full of exocomps. There's my prediction.
Nice. I like that. It's good. Well, you can only have 3 in this game, unless you're going 1E and then rock and roll. Charlie. All right. Unlike Alan, give me some real predictions.
Well, I mean, just looking at the pre-reg, there's some big names going down there. There's a couple local strong players down there. Jeffrey Peterson. I don't think TK is local there anymore, but he's certainly played in that meta a lot.
That's a lot of charisma. Jeffrey and TK. Oh man, you get me fired.
And no comments, but
Jeffrey's a good guy, but man, he's. Oh boy.
I ultimately think that while the deck that I think a lot of people haven't run into that will do really well is a Terrak Nord deck that surgically attacks your dilemma pile.
And you're really you're crossing the fingers. You're going for the long. You're going for the long.
Well, I mean, I think people have underestimated it, and you can play that Terrak Nord deck in a couple different ways. You can play it with the brute force. I'm going to try to remove as many dilemmas as I can to get my unstopping ability going, or you can play it with a more surgical removal, where you try to remove key dilemmas that turn on that cheater interrupt, that really give you a lot of power. And playing in that space where if you try to get your 10th dilemma removed going into your 3rd mission, and you can just prevent everybody in your team from being stopped, and you've taken out key dilemmas, especially in a meta like that where I have to think Tragic Turn is going to the super thin, 20 card Tragic Turn or 25 card ship destruction dilemma pile that TK is known for is going to be played a lot. I think that deck could. It may not win, but it'll throw everybody off, which opens the field up so much. If you're going to ask me for a solid prediction, I'm going to go with Greg Hodgin.
Wow, there you go.
He's a mid-carder in terms of the ratings, but he's played in some big events, and he's a good player. And I'm gonna see him playing. I'm gonna go Bajor.
Yeah, I forgot to.
Jordan's and Greg Hodgin. So.
I just pre-registered now officially. I forgot to do that. I rarely pre-register. I don't see heavy hitters that you see on here, Charlie. Of course, I'm picking myself because I'm angry now. I haven't been angry in a long time. So I'm going to hurt some people. I'm going to go back to the old school Killer Bee, the game. I'm going to bring some hurt, bring some people. I think there's going to be some people that are not on this list. There's definitely going to be some.
Yeah, I expect a Neil Timmons cameo. I expect.
Yeah, he's been dirty dogging it. He's been asking me like strange questions, and he's been acting goofy. He's the worst liar in the history of the world. He's just no good at lying. And if I don't win, my money shot's going to be what's the word I used to call him? I forget already. Sean O'Reilly. He's the godfather of Trek. That's it. He's been around as long as me. So I'm going to take Sean O'Reilly with a Gatherer's deck or something goofy. Let's give it a go. Charlie, let's spoil some data before we leave. Come on, man. Let's do it. Give me something.
Nick didn't give me anything.
He spoiled something. He spoiled something earlier today, but
yeah, he put an interrupt on the boards.
Yeah, I'm not happy with. You can't start that. I don't like that being the first card released. That doesn't really.
Well, it's not the first. There's been a couple on Section 31. The ambassadors have some info now. I'm trying to find the fucking file. Hang on. I'm so disorganized. Well, I don't know if we've said this yet, but it's 45 cards again, and it's verb heavy. It's pretty verb heavy. Let's go with.
Do most people know the gist of it yet? That's going to be Dominion and DS9.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about it being Dominion and DS9. There's some more info out there that your ambassadors have, so talk to your ambassador. But I'll tell you this: there's a new rule of acquisition, a brand new rule of acquisition that I think Ferengi players are particularly going to enjoy and reinforces one of the themes of the expansion. We'll just go for that right now.
But give them, I want the good spoiler, Charlie. Tell them which one of those is getting a new HQ. Tell them, Charlie. Spoil it on the show.
All right.
Which one? Who's getting the new HQ? This is my real ambush question of the show.
There is a card in the expansion whose title is the initials FH. That's all I'll say.
All right. Well, one of them's getting a new HQ. Hopefully we'll get to spoil. All right, that's it for the show.
You should be able to figure that out.
I'd like to thank there's going to be some new colors for Mouth of the Wormhole. Can you let them know that? I just did. Well, too late. I let them know. Get ready for some new colors. I'd like to thank my guest, Alan Gould. Charlie Plaine, thanks for coming on. Like Greasy Ducat, I'm kicking your both out of the discard pile. Good night.